Good evening. I would like to call this meeting to order. It is 7 p.m. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence to honor the memory of Amy Garcia, PV Schools distribution technician.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. May I have roll call, please?
Mrs. Greenberg.
Here.
Mrs. Bacon.
Here.
Mr. Laney.
Here.
Mrs. Matura.
Here.
Mrs. Case.
Here. Next on the agenda is approval of agenda. Dr. Bales.
Thank you, President Ventura. Items approved by consent will not come up for discussion during the meeting, but will be approved when the agenda is adopted. This is possible since members of the governing board receive the agenda along with backup materials at least 24 hours prior to the meeting and have time to review and consider all items. Prior to the agenda being adopted, members of the governing board or audience may ask that an item be removed from the consent agenda and brought to the floor for discussion at the appropriate place on the agenda. I'd like to offer the agenda as posted.
Does any member of the governing board wish to have an item removed from the consent agenda? Does any member of the audience wish to have an item removed from the consent agenda? Seeing none, Mr. Laney, may I have a motion to approve the meeting agenda and recommended consent agenda items G1 through G12?
So moved.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is governing board statements. Mrs. Bacon? Mr. Laney.
Since I wasn't here at the last meeting to start the school year, I'd just like to say I'm grateful that we got started again, and I look forward to a great and fun school year. My kids have already started to have fun, so that's good. And so I look forward to being able to serve the district.
Thank you. And I just wanted to once again welcome everyone back, welcome our staff, our teachers, our students. Everyone hopefully has had a chance to figure out their new schedules, waking up earlier in the morning. I know that's a hard one in our house. So hopefully everyone's settling into the new school year, and it's going to be a great one. Next on the agenda is awards and recognitions. Dr. Bales.
President Ventura, it's always a pleasure to highlight staff and students for success or appreciation. Mr. Droege will MC the honors tonight, and at this point, I'd like to invite the governing board to join me in front of the dais.
Good evening, President Matura, governing board members, Dr. Bales, members of cabinet, and attendees both in person and virtual. Tonight, we have several recognitions to share with you. This evening, we'll be inviting our honorees to the front of the room for their recognition and photo. So please make your way up to the front of the room when I call your name. Our first honoree this evening won first in Arizona and placed 7th at the National Middle School InvestRight Essay Competition. Please join me in congratulating McKinley Johnston from Mountain Trail Middle School. Thank you. Our next three honorees this evening completed a rigorous process to earn the elite status of becoming nationally certified school nurses. As they make their way to the front of the room, please join me in congratulating Michaela Brennan from Copper Canyon Elementary School, Stephanie Cleaver from Desert Cove Elementary School, and I believe unable to attend this evening, Jessica Carter of Indian Bend Elementary School. For more information about both of these honorees, there are stories for each on the pvschools.net website. And with that, President Matura, that concludes this evening's recognitions. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda is call to the public.
Call to the Public is about to convene. This portion of today's meeting allows the public the opportunity to address the governing board. Although state law does not require that the governing board hold a call to the public, the Paradise Valley Unified School District and its board have chosen to do so because we believe it's important to hear about concerns and issues from our community. While Call to the Public is not designed to be a discussion, the board is here to listen. Due to Arizona open meeting law, the governing board cannot respond to, discuss, or take any action on items brought up during this time. However, staff members may be directed to get back to you and address individual concerns. As a reminder, the point of this and every board meeting is to accomplish the business at hand, and to be able to do so in an open and collaborative way. All in attendance are expected to observe meeting rules, as well as rules of politeness and decorum, so that we may serve as an example to our students that issues can be discussed in a respectful and civil manner.
Okay, first up will be Jennifer Ariza, and then will be Wallace Gary.
Hi, my name is Jennifer Ariza. I hope everybody had a good summer. I want to thank everybody for the time you put into each of your positions. I know personally it's difficult to get to every one of these meetings, and I just want you to know I really appreciate what you do. I stand here tonight as a concerned parent in the Paradise Valley School District, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak. It's a really great video, by the way. Nice addition this year. My concern as a parent in the district is the education and welfare of our Paradise Valley School District students. I stand here tonight because I want to declare that pornography should not be allowed in our schools. I am hoping that some of our board members were able to take some time this summer to research the effects of pornography on children. Pornography is most often thought to be pictures or videos of nudity or sexual acts, but the depiction of those sexual acts in literature is also pornography. The American Bar Association states that exposure to pornography harms children and youth by normalizing sexual violence, creating unrealistic expectations for intimate partners and relationships, and increasing the risk of addiction. And this happens whether it's a graphic video or an explicit passage in a book. Pornography is used to train and desensitize people and increase demand for human trafficking. Porn users often seek out to act what they have seen and read in pornography. The National Center on Sexual Exploitation states that a wide array of harms from pornography use have been objectively identified by research. It also states that converging evidence from peer-reviewed research finds that pornography consumption, especially of violent pornography, is associated with a broad array of sexually hostile attitudes and violent behaviors. Things such as male sexual aggression against women, greater likelihood of adolescents sexually harassing a peer, physical and sexual victimization of adolescents, and the purchase of sex. So I stand here and also want to remind everybody about our human trafficking problem here in Arizona. We are one of the largest human sex trafficking recovery programs. We have that here. And we're taking young children, even elementary age children, into that program. So I'm going to challenge all of us in this coming school year to ask ourselves if we should continue to approve any pornographic material to be used in our schools. And I want to thank everybody and looking forward to this year.
Next up is Wallace Gary, and then Brittany Llewellyn.
Good evening, everybody. I do apologize for my appearance. It's been a very long day. I got out the shower, walked right in here. So, yes, please bear with me. And also I'm not very cordial and orientated in this type of thing. So I'm going to screw this up really bad. My main concern tonight, though, in the past 2 years of being with the Paradise School District, Campobello Elementary School, we've had several issues. The last one raised two big concerns that I have with the school right now. On the card, I only put the one. I wasn't sure how to do this exactly. My first one is a concern that on Tuesday, my boy became missing, and it took until 4:30 that I had my boy back in my hands and 4 officers about ready to arrest me. Okay, so with this one question here is how can this happen? What can be done to help prevent this to happen? And how can a school be willing to want to basically kick the parent off campus because the school can't give answers directly to the situation that happened at hand at that point? The second one is the point of dismissal out of the school right now. The rear exit of the school is a very, very big hazard. I actually had several of the board members out there today to start addressing and look into this issue. I just wanted to bring this up as a full presentation to everybody on this board. I thought I had everybody in an email, which as I see today, I did not. So again, I'm lost on what to ask and how to go about this. I just figured coming in here tonight to at least present the issues that I've had at hand recently to everybody, to hopefully this can get addressed in a better manner. Alyssa Orchard, the principal of the school, I will say I know she's trying, but the conversations we've had with her, it is her by herself trying to do this, it seems like, and there's a lot of lack of support, I feel like, on her and our people with her to help her at this point. Outside of that, I know this isn't a discussion to go back and forth. These are just concerns that I have. I've truly got a list, but the two big points that I have are those. The student safety is a very big one coming out of dismissal, as well as how kids are going in and out of the school. One thing that she did point on about the trafficking, my boy's 5 years old. He's in kindergarten. He got on a daycare bus, brought to a daycare. Nobody knew where this daycare was for about 30 minutes. Finally got location, wouldn't tell me anything. Finally, when we were able to get hands on my boy, I had to fight with the daycare to get my boy out of the daycare because they wouldn't let him go. So with this being said, y'all understand that I almost went to jail over an issue that the school had, that the school messed up on. And because of my reaction, which was still somewhat conservative to where I truly wanted to be at, I was the bad person at the end of the day for all of this. And I should not have been. So I'm asking for y'all to please get in front of this issue. I messaged you directly today. I did not like your response, by the way, but that's here nor there. But with that being said, I'm asking for y'all to help, please.
Okay, next up is Brittany Llewellyn.
This evening I was wanting to talk about Campobello as well. There's a shading issue in both the parent pickup as well as the kindergarten area. The kids are out there from anywhere between 15 to 30 minutes at a time with little to no shade. And as everybody knows here in Arizona, it gets very hot. And for children that young to be standing out there in the sun, they do have their water, but they're just standing there with no shade, and then it gets very hot in between both of those buildings, as well as right next to the hot asphalt for them. Now, we've come to the principal and asked her to help address this as of last year as well. Haven't seen any persistence in going forward with that. And it's just very concerning that the children are standing out there without that shade. They are our futures. We want to make sure that we're putting that in front of them to let them know that we care about them even at that young age. And with them being out there in Arizona, anywhere to be 110 degrees out there, and they're standing out there. It's really sad to see that. I've seen a lot of other campuses have those awnings and have them out there while they're out there standing waiting for their parents. But at this school, I don't see that, and it's quite distraught to see my children come home when they've got red beet faces, and we just live right up the street. So seeing them standing out there, it sucks. So I figured I'd kind of bring that attention today to try to see if there's something else that can be done, whether it's trees in those areas, which there are no trees on campus, or shading or an awning or something to help address that heat for them, so that you can bring down that huge temperature that they're standing in on a daily basis throughout the week. Um, Also, one other thing that I noticed for Paradise Valley, at least for Campobello, is the school supply list. It was given to us 6 days prior to school. For some families, it coming in that late is just very, very taxing on their budgets. So having that maybe a little bit earlier suggested. I know they have one that is just like a main one, which we got off of, but when we got the actual true list, we were missing at least $50-$60 per child when we have two. So that's an extra $100 out of our budget that we didn't have, that we had to overspend on, which could be towards food or anything else for our children that they need. So, that 6-day notice before school starts was just very taxing. And I think a lot of other families would say the same thing. So I figured I'd bring a couple of those to the board's attention as well, to maybe see if we can try to do something on that end for our children and for the families. Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda is Dr. Bales.
Good evening. We're off and running with a new school year, and I'm happy to report that members of my leadership team and I visited campuses across the district on the first day of school, and we had the pleasure of seeing a buzz of positivity and optimism through our hallways and such. We have challenges though, and we started the year with 60 full-time certified vacancies, a 35% vacancy rate in nutrition and wellness, 150 instructional assistants needed for students with special needs, and more than half of our bus driving positions remain unfilled. The lack of staffing is a crisis, and it is not unique to PV schools. It is a state and national crisis. But despite these challenges, it's been an overall smooth start, a few bumps along the way, and ones that we can continue to work on and work together in resolving. I look forward to us addressing these challenges and continuing the things that we've started and continuing to improve. While a new school year is filled with the buzz of opportunity, there's also real anxiety over the safety and well-being of students and staff around the country. As a nation, we've become accustomed to hearing about tragedies on school campuses. And I want to take this moment to express my appreciation to our staff and community for the work that has been done to help maintain our safe and secure learning environments. Over the years, PV Schools has implemented several security measures as a result of our staff and community actively participating in the collaborative process. Bonds that supported the addition of security cameras, input and feedback that allowed for the creation of an emergency preparedness plan, and the support at each of our buildings allowing for secure entrance and exits, single point ingress and egress during the school day, and general safety are just some of the things that we are keeping in place in our schools and that keep our staff and students safe. As you'll see tonight as part of my superintendent goals, we'll be reaffirming our commitment to communication. Should there be an emergency or a safety concern at one of our buildings, we remain committed to informing our community. Because quick isn't always accurate, I do want to thank you in advance for your patience as we strive to provide the community with the best information possible as quickly as we can during times of high stress and anxiety. The National School Lunch Program is a great way to get your child's healthy food while they're at school. To qualify for free and reduced meals for the 22-23 school year, families must complete an application through the www.easymealapp.com or submit a paper form. This is different than in past years, so if you would like to participate in this program, please make sure to complete the application as soon as possible. Additional information is available at pvschools.net. We continue to look for talented and dedicated individuals to join our team. There are a variety of positions with flexible hours, including bus drivers, bus aides, child care associates, crossing guards, instructional assistants, cafeteria staff, and more. So if you're interested in making a difference in our students' lives or know someone who is, check out our open positions at jobs.pvschools.net. The application process is quick and easy, and we'd love to have you join Team PV. In PV Schools, we engage, inspire, and nurture students through high-quality instruction, meaningful educational opportunities, and dynamic learning experiences. This is our mission. These experiences are made possible in part by the departments diligently working behind the scenes to continue to help our students and staff succeed. Thank you to our support professionals. We wouldn't have had a successful start to the year without your contributions. Those are my comments for this evening.
Next on the agenda is items for approval. Dr. Bales.
Thank you, President Matura. And governing board members, cabinet, and guests. Tonight I present my 2022-23 goals and objectives for your approval. We did a lot of work last year as my first year as superintendent, and to build upon that work, we developed and you approved a very robust strategic plan last spring. Building upon that, and with your input this summer, I've developed these goals based on the needs assessment, your input, and our aspirations for student success. Our priority focus and goal areas include the following. Student achievement. We must maintain a focus on student achievement. Communication. We can always work to improve our communication. This is a need that we have in the district. And finally, fiscal responsibility. We have limited resources. We have fiduciary responsibilities. We must make the most of what we have to maximize our efforts and support our students and staff in their endeavors to succeed. With those focus areas, my first goal is to enhance teaching and learning opportunities to expand student achievement through a continuous improvement and equity lens. You can see that we've tied this to the strategic goal. Goal number 1 and commitment number 1.1, 1.2, 1.4, 2.5, and 3.2. And all of these goals and commitments that I list here are tied to the strategic plan that is available online. You can see all of those and correlate the responsive objectives. The first objective is really part of a 3-year plan. And this is to build 4 new district-wide initiatives as frameworks to address and improve our general academic performance over the next 3 years as measured by rubrics for fidelity and of implementation. We will develop our implementation teams. They are going to meet next week as their first opportunity. This is our year in some ways to develop awareness, to build an implementation rubric with key performance indicators that will hold us accountable as we implement these expectations and strategic frameworks. The first of 4 strategic initiatives is a focus on multi-tiered system of supports. This MTSS in our educational language is a focus on high quality classroom instruction, tier 1 instruction. We want that very first instruction with students to be the most powerful and impactful on student achievement with the appropriate supports. When children are not successful, we want to have in place the supports they need to catch up and move forward. The second strategic initiative is to build upon many of our efforts across this district around positive behavioral support systems, PBIS. This is not new to the district, but there are some schools that it will be new to. And this will be a year of building awareness and discussing ways that over the next 3 years we move towards this as a district-wide initiative. The next strategic framework is professional learning communities, PLCs as we refer to. And these are not new to district teachers and staff either. We've been implementing professional learning communities for at least a dozen years. But it varies from campus to campus. And one of the things that's been most challenging with high-level implementation of PLCs is time. We always hear from our teachers and our administrators that the lack of time is what they miss most in the opportunity to look at data and make data-driven decisions, helping individual kids succeed. The conversation about more time will be part of this strategic framework. And finally, a STEAM initiative, district-wide. A focus on science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics as a district-wide framework and initiative. We have limited resources, and our parents are looking for the right educational service provider that will challenge their children, help them move forward, and be prepared for the next endeavor, either as a college, career, or community member in high-wage, high-demand jobs. A district-wide initiative such as STEAM will give us the opportunity to focus our limited resources to market this district as a school district and not a district of schools. The second objective to support this goal is to continue, as in year 2 this year, to review and monitor our district literacy plan. Goal number 2 is to address communication, to improve our communication with parents and community. It is tied to our strategic value and action, such as integrity, and strategic plan goal number 3, commitment 3.1. There are 3 objectives here. The first is to develop some strategies to communicate all of our curriculum standards and materials for public review. Second, to enhance the service experiences for internal and external stakeholders. And third, to increase opportunities for greater student and parent feedback. We want all of our parents to have an opportunity to have their voice heard. Each of these objectives will develop strategies as supervised by the appropriate assistant superintendent and across the district moving forward. Each of these goals and objectives will have key performance indicators with them as well. The third goal is to address and continue adherence to principles of fiscal responsibility and improve our stakeholders' understanding of the district's revenues and expenditures. It's also tied to the strategic plan, and there are 3 objectives here. To develop strategies to explain, post, and share the comprehensive financial report and popular annual financial report. The CAFR, the comprehensive financial report, is done every year. It's a very long document that doesn't make a lot of sense to a lot of people. And this spring, we developed for the first time a popular annual financial report. Both are found on the website for your review. This smaller, easier to read document helps with transparency and understanding of the revenues and expenditures that the district has, as well as bonds, overrides, and such that are locally voter approved. The second objective is to develop some strategies to enhance our board and community understanding of the budgetary matters and balance our budget shortfall that I addressed at the June 2nd meeting. And the third objective is to monitor and adjust the 3 to 4 year facilities plan and develop a 10-year outline of future needs. We need to continue to look farther down the road on what those building and maintenance needs are in our district. Those are the 3 goals that I have. Your input this summer was tremendously important in revising some of these expectations. I look forward to providing you a mid-year update as we implement these goals. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I do request approval.
May I please have a motion to approve superintendent's goals and objectives for 2022 and 2023 as presented?
So moved.
Do we have any questions or comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
First of all, I want to say how much I appreciate that goal 1 is enhance teaching and learning opportunities and expand student achievement. I just really appreciate the emphasis the district is putting on that. And I also want to say how much I appreciate that the professional learning communities is being specifically looked at. I believe that that is one of the best ways that we can improve achievement in our district is by teachers sharing ideas and working together for the benefit of our students. And I do have a question on the district literacy plan, objective 1B. If you could just kind of expand on this objective a little bit.
Yes, this is a carryover from the goal that we had this past year and a focus on our K-3 in terms of student achievement. Dr. Corson, can you help me fill in a little bit of the detail as this is your area of expertise as well?
Sure, I'd be happy to. So within our district literacy plan, we look at several areas, one of which is our K-3 literacy. And we are working to improve our academic achievement, specifically with early literacy. We realize that K-3 literacy is especially a gateway for students to be able to be successful, not only in school, but through all through our system, because literacy is part of every academic area, and we recognize how important that is. But we're also looking at leveraging writing as part of our literacy. And so we'll be bringing, for example, to the governing board within the next few weeks, a recommendation for some writing resources that we believe will continue to enhance writing achievement as part of our literacy work that we do. And we're also looking at our progression of literacy achievement beyond K-3. And so we have special attention on grades 4 through 12 and looking at how we can better align our standards within the classroom, how we can develop common assessments at each of those levels so that it begins to drive achievement in a very aligned way and to ensure that we have a good continuum of literacy standards that are building on each other and providing the scaffolds that we need for student support.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Corson.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is approval of board norms. And I don't have them in front of me, I'm sorry. All right, this is a document that we look at every year. And this year's board norms, I will read. As a member of the Paradise Valley Unified School District Governing Board, I remember that my first and primary concern is the education and welfare of Paradise Valley Unified School District students. Conduct myself appropriately and professionally at board meetings by coming prepared to participate, listening carefully and courteously to others, working collaboratively to make student-centered decisions, conducting board business transparently, rendering decisions based on available facts and independent judgment, and refusing to surrender that judgment to individuals or special interest groups, respecting and supporting the majority decisions of the board, and adhering to standards of ethical conduct and maintaining confidentiality, particularly in closed sessions, recognizing that a board member has no legal authority as an individual and that decisions can be made only by a majority vote at a board meeting in accordance with open meeting law. Lead a district of equity and access that supports community-wide collaboration and student achievement. Am respectful of fellow board members and all in PV schools. Understand that my role is to ensure PV schools is well managed, not to manage the district. Recognize our fiduciary responsibility to assure financial resources are being distributed transparently in the best interests of our community in cultivating student success. Inform the superintendent of all scheduled appointments with school personnel and will be vigilant about the amount of time spent with employees, recognizing they have jobs to do. Refer to the superintendent complaints, problems, and/or issues from parents, community members, or staff to seek positive solutions before airing matters publicly. Expand my knowledge of public education and governance skills through conferences, seminars, and workshops, books, publications, and other research and board retreats. Serve as an ambassador to the district, but not as an official spokesperson, and adhere to board-developed communications protocols. May I please have a motion to approve the board norms as presented?
So moved.
Does any member wish to make a comment or question? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is consideration and action to approve the ASBA Draft 2023 political agenda. May I please have a motion to approve the the Arizona School Boards Association's ASBA's Draft 2023 political agenda and direct the district's delegate to the ASBA Delegate Assembly to represent the board's determined position as presented?
So moved.
Do we have questions about this? We had it in our packet. Everyone received this by email. Okay. Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Any abstention?
Ventura, I'm going to abstain.
Okay, thank you very much. Motion passes 4-0 with 1 abstention. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of transportation rate increase for the 2022-2023 school year. It's the second reading. Oh, I apologize. I skipped ahead. All right. Actually, next on the agenda is consideration and approval of a new memorandum of understanding to the Paradise Valley Education Association, PVEA, bargaining agreement with PVEA for elementary class size addenda. Dr. Bales.
Thank you, President Ventura, governing board members, cabinet, and guests. The lack of staffing is a national, state, and district crisis, and you heard me in my earlier comments address those concerns and challenges. I highlighted many of the vacancies that we had on the first day. And tonight we present a compensation strategy for teachers who significantly exceed our class size staffing ratios due to the lack of a certified teacher or substitute. Dr. Holmes will explain more.
Thank you, Dr. Bales. Madam President, members of the board, the MOU in question that you did a nice job introducing, President Matura. The context is this. We have established class size ratios for our K-6 general education classrooms. And occasionally we find that more students show up than we anticipate, and they go over those established ratios. Our typical response is to contemplate either adding an additional section at that grade level or sometimes providing instructional aid assistance. And what we recognize in this particular day and age in this job market, that the option of providing additional aid assistance in particular is not necessarily feasible in terms of being able to find people to actually do that job. So what we've contemplated is another option of providing teachers with additional compensation to take on that workload, and that is really the purpose of the addendum. We will continue to, this is not something I should say that is necessarily an automatic addendum that we will provide, but rather an additional option for us to employ, meaning, pardon me, meaning that we will work with our site administrators and teachers to identify what the best option is on a case-by-case basis. We recommend your approval.
May I please have a motion to approve the new memorandum of understanding to the Paradise Valley Education Association, PVEA, bargaining agreement with PVEA for elementary class size addenda as presented?
So moved.
Any questions or comments? Okay, Ms. Bacon?
I'm glad that you clarified at the end because I wanted to just make sure that this wasn't something teachers had to do no matter what. You're going to work with the site, the principal, the grade level to figure out what the best option is for that school at that time.
Yeah, I would say we always want to be within our class size ratios. So being over our class size ratios is not a position we ever want to be in. We recognize that in some cases that's going to be a reality.
Yeah.
And if that is the reality, then we think this is an appropriate option potentially to exercise is to compensate teachers additionally.
Thank you. And I hope that we're doing more than just that, but looking at volunteers in the classroom, ways that we can get the community involved in helping those teachers manage what has to be pretty overwhelming for them on a day-to-day basis. So that was just something else I wanted to add. Let's not just look at ways to pay them, but let's look at other ways to help them and support them.
Mr. Laney?
Thank you. Yeah, I agree a lot with what Spaken said. And, the money does help, but helping them in other ways will go a long way. But, at the end of the day, the stress that the teacher may have to go through with the extra kids, hopefully the compensation will make up for that because it increases their workload quite a bit. So when I read this, I was excited for the unique solution to a problem that we're dealing with nationwide. So thank you.
And I did appreciate that it stated that this would be continually looked at, that it wasn't an automatic, once you decide to put this in place, that then for the rest of the year, you're not even going to attempt to adjust the classroom. So I did appreciate that that was part of the MOU, that it would continue to still try to find other ways to alleviate the stress on the teachers. And but this was one option that is now available to the district to use. So thank you. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is consideration and approval of transportation rate increases for the 2022-2023 school year. Second reading, Dr. Bales.
Thank you, President Ventura, governing board members, cabinet, and guests. Tonight we present as a second reading and for approval those bus rate increases for out-of-district rental services. There are no changes from the first reading at our last meeting when we read that, and we are here to answer any questions should you have them. Ms. Berrigan is available to help answer those questions if you have any. We do recommend approval.
May I please have a motion to approve the transportation rate increase for the 2022-2023 school year as presented?
So moved.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Next on the agenda is ratification of vouchers. May I please have a motion to approve ratification of vouchers as presented?
So moved.
Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay.
Mrs. Matura, I will abstain from this vote.
Thank you. Motion passes 4-0 with one abstention. Next on the agenda is gifts and donations. And we always appreciate everyone's donations. We had donations and gifts coming in throughout the summer. Appreciate all of those. And start kicking off the new year. We have additional gifts that have been coming in. I did want to draw attention to one. Dorito Partners did make a donation to Echo Mountain Intermediate School. They gave $1,000 of donations for items for the school store, for the Caught Being Kind store. So I know that means a lot to the kids to have an opportunity to go shop their points and be able to pick something out. So I know that donation is much appreciated. And again, thank you to everyone who made donations in this the last few weeks. May I please have a motion to accept the gifts and donations as presented?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. There are no items for discussion, so next on the agenda is a call for executive session. May I please have one motion to call for executive session for agenda items J1 and J2.
One motion for J1 and J2, move the governing board call for an executive session in accordance with ARS 38-431.03.A3, which reads as follows, quote, discussion or consultation for legal advice with the attorney or attorneys of the public body, and ARS 38-431.03.A7, quote, discussions or consultations with designated representatives of the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its representatives regarding negotiations for the purchase, sale, or lease of real property, close quote, the purpose, additional space needed for existing district school site, and in accordance with Arizona Revised Statute 38-431.03.A5, which reads as follows, quote, discussions or consultations with designated representatives of the public body in order to consider its position and instruct its representatives regarding negotiations with employee organizations regarding the salaries, salary schedules, or compensation paid in the form of fringe benefits of employees of the public body. The purpose, meet for instruction/direction.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. It is 7:46 p.m. and we are recessing our regular meeting to go into executive session. We will reconvene our regular meeting after the executive session is over.
Hi, Nancy. Hi, Troy.
Can I call you on the conference phone?
That's whatever you want to do.
Okay, I'm gonna call you on the conference. I'm gonna hold my battery to die on you during the session.
Oh, okay.
So hang on, I'll listen for the ring. I'll call you on it.
Okay. Okay. Hello.
Can you hear us?
Yes.
It is 9:09 PM and we are reconvening our regular meeting. Next on the agenda is direction to administration/attorney. May I please have a motion?
Yeah, in the first motion, move the governing board provide direction to the district attorney, Mr. Clyde Dangerfield, pursuant to discussions in executive session regarding additional space needed for existing district school site.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes unanimously. May I please have the additional motion?
Second motion, move the governing board instruct the administration regarding negotiations with employee groups as directed in executive session.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed, please say nay. Motion passes unanimously. Before we adjourn, I would like to remind you that our next regular board meeting will be held on Thursday, September 1st, 2022 at 7 PM. And may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Say nay. Motion passes unanimously. We are adjourned.